tiny homes, accessory dwelling units, granny pods, backyard cottages, casitas, granny flats. I don't know what you want to call these, but if I had $1 for every time someone asked me about installing one of these at their house here in Oklahoma, I could probably buy a Starbucks drink every single day. And I have good news for you. Norman residents can now build tiny homes next to their houses, their original structures. This proposal passed unanimously in March of 2024 through City Council. This means that with some restrictions, of course, you can now build a tiny home or an accessory dwelling unit at your existing residence in Norman, Oklahoma. I'm Marcie Billen and I'm a real estate agent here in Norman, Oklahoma. Each week I release free content just for you about living in Oklahoma. If you find this video helpful, would you go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a like? That way more people might see this video. And if you're needing to buy a home or sell a home here in Oklahoma, would you give me a call? I would be thrilled to help you. So currently the restrictions on an ADU or a tiny home are as follows. Your tiny home can't be bigger than 650 square feet if your lot is 6,000 square feet or less. And it can't be a mobile home. No mobile homes. You also won't be able to make your lot have more than 65% impervious surface. This means that at least 45% of your lot needs to be able to absorb water, specifically rainwater. HOAs can restrict ADUs from being built. Also, if you have a property that's larger than normal, like, a half acre, an acre, 10 acres, then you're gonna have different restrictions on your ADU, like you can have a bigger one. Other states have already approved the use of ADUs and some have some different restrictions on them. For instance, one state has ADUs, but they have a restriction that they can't be used for short-term rentals like Airbnb or Vrbo. In Norman, if you want to rent out your ADU or your tiny home, you're going to have to go through the change of zoning process to go from R1 to R2. Oklahoma City is also working to approve the use of ADUs, specifically between Southwest 59th and Northwest 63rd and between 44 and 35. So I could think of 7 reasons why you may want to add an ADU to your existing residence. The first is multi-generational living, and this is usually why my clients bring this up to me. So this could mean having a family member live in the tiny home. Usually like a parent or aunt or uncle, or maybe an adult child. Other reasons you might want to install an ADU are to have an extra workspace that is separate from your dwelling. I haven't explored the possibility of having a business in one of these tiny homes where like people are coming and going. But if that's what you're thinking, please drop a comment for me. I would love to hear if that's what you're thinking. I have seen this before in Norman. Of course, an ADU can also add value to your home. It's essentially extra square footage of living space. And as long as it's done well, I don't see why it wouldn't add value to your home. As I mentioned before, rental income might be an option for you. You may also want to add an ADU for guest housing, specifically like if you always have people coming in from out of town and you want them to have an extra space outside of your home. Whenever you're thinking about retirement, you may want to move into a tiny home in your backyard and maybe rent out your original residence. Or I was thinking like maybe a Golden Girls situation, right? And then put the dramatic one out in the back tiny home. I don't know. That's just my first thought.
If I'd had the money, I could have been living in a swinging condo instead of with, I better not say anything till I've had my coffee. A slut and a moron.
Now, the city of Norman had community and urban density development in mind whenever they approved the tiny homes, meaning that we need more housing in Norman, we need more affordable housing, and people have been asking for these and other states have been doing this, so there's no reason that we couldn't do the same thing. One of the main barriers of entry to getting an ADU is, of course, going to be the cost. So not only do you have to build the structure, but you also have to get water, electricity, possibly gas to the structure. Otherwise, it's just camping. So you have to have all of those things. Parking will also become a potential issue that has to be remedied for these ADUs. Is this something that you would consider for your residence? If it is, drop a comment for me below.